Two things here that are dictating largely what we do this time of the year here on the farm. Number one is the first frost, and number two is when the leaves start to fall. We have a lot of work when those leaves start to fall, using those for our fertility program here. We're going to go over that. Good day to you. My name's Jason here at Birchfield Family Farm. We're just west of Oxford, Ohio. And we run grass-based, pasture-based Red Devon cattle and St. Croix sheep and chickens in a rotational grazing system. I have an encouraging word for you today. This is from Psalm 75. We give thanks to you, O God. We give thanks for your name is near. Men tell of your wonderful deeds. You say, I choose the appointed time. It is I who judge uprightly. When the earth and all its people quake, it is I who hold its pillars firm. I received this comment on a few videos back here. We were talking about drought and how tough it's been this year. And we had two separate droughts this year, one in early July. I believe we got to maybe a D2. And this past one, most of the county got to a D3 severe drought in late September. And, received this comment on one of those last few videos here. This is Britt Corley. She says we are in the same boat here in Salvisa, Kentucky. D2 drought and scorching heat. We've gotten less than 4 inches total all summer. For the third year in a row, we are starting to feed our sheep hay in September. Only this year hay is way up price-wise because local farms only got one cutting. Hard not to get discouraged, but on a bright note, I dug my fill in the blank. It's what we're going to be talking about here yesterday and got a bumper crop. I guess they love the heat and I grew them under the black plastic based on your advice, and it was a huge success. Almost no vole damage. Thanks for your videos. I am always encouraged by them. We're going to be talking about this crop that we grow in the garden here. It's successful for us here every single year, or has been. Drought tolerant, and going to be going over the system that we use to grow this. Okay, if you haven't guessed already, our vining plant here that we are digging up today and harvesting is the mighty sweet potato, high in potassium, high in just lots of good stuff, especially if it's grown in really good soil. We've got our overwintering cover crop mix that's come on this side of the garden. And then we did sweet potatoes down these are 6 foot wide here, these sections of black fabric. And we just put one section down on either side we did not plant sweet potatoes into. So it allows the sweet potatoes to really vine out on either side. And we put these in just after last frost in May, and then maybe just a little bit after that. You really want about 4 months growth here. And then you come in just before first frost. Looking at the calendar and that forecast, I think we're going to have a frost here midweek next week. We're supposed to hit the 30s at night. So you don't want these to get frosted on. You want to get them out. So what we're going to do is start from the other end. Mama's still got a little bit of celery here. I think she's going to want to clip. So we'll start from the other end, roll it up, and come this way, and we'll get a yield tally here. And probably one of the more fun things that we do in the garden every year is dig potatoes. So much fun here. But the other thing that's dictating what we do here is when the leaves start to fall. We have a lot of larger sugar maple trees on the property we make syrup out of. That provides sugar needs for our family throughout the year. Just incredible, all that those trees provide. But when those leaves start to drop, those leaves are high in calcium. And so we collect those, we chop them, and then we have 2 bigger Johnson Sioux composters back there. It's a system of static compost that just sits. You water it throughout the year, and then we have a system where we transfer that before winter into our milk house, into an overwintering worm bin where it's heated, and we keep that going. And we actually have some of that now that's almost 24 months old, almost 2 years old, and we're going to be going over in upcoming videos. We'll do videos on Johnson & Sioux, how we set that up. We'll get some microbiometer testing and some quantification, some results on that. But I'm bringing all that up because that is something that we do here in the garden. You can even see it here. See how black and rich that is. That's from that Johnson Sioux that we mix in when we plant the sweet potatoes. What in the world? What's going on over here? Are you serious? You can't get up? Dump them out of there. Let's go back to work. Okay, so the first thing we had to do, this whole area was vined out, so we had to cut the vines. We take the vines, you can feed those to livestock. I like just taking those over in our chicken area and giving those to chickens, just because livestock won't eat all of them, and so you get a lot of the stuff hanging around. But basically, once you've trimmed those vines off, I thought we'd maybe roll from the other side, but that came off the... Don't get me in trouble with Mama on that celery. And then we'll just pull this off the top once those vines are clipped, and we'll get down here and dig these. Okay, and then once you get your fabric out of the way, it exposes a little bit. Oh my goodness! Look at that thing! Are you serious?
Yeah.
Can you dig that out? See how big that is. Okay, so this is interesting. This is where we had the plain fabric. We didn't plant over here, in other words, and we've got some of these. I mean, look at these coming up over here that we didn't even, I don't know, I guess the vines grew under the fabric maybe. We didn't get a whole lot of that last year, but just like bonus sweet potato. We are gonna have some vole damage for sure. We know that. We just plant a little extra, donate to the vole population here. That's just the way it goes. Oh my. Are you serious? Look at that thing.
That's a sweet potato.
That is incredible. Now, a lot of times you hear folks say that when they get big like that, they can, not be very good and whatnot, but it's been our experience. We grow them that size, and everything about that is good. There's not a bad part to it. So all of that is harvestable and good stuff to eat on through the winter. Okay, so best way we found to dig these things is with something called a potato fork. Kind of go to the outside, you're gonna pry them up, and then somebody just picking from the middle there. We also use a mattock. You got that pointy end to kind of dig through, or this end to kind of trench with. Those are nice looking. Okay, no vole damage on those. So in this system, I know folks may have a question on what kind of spacing do we do. Again, it was just the middle 6-foot section of black fabric. The two on either side there were not holes in those. So you're gonna put your middle section down, and then it looks like we did, we were about 2 feet between the holes, and you just use a propane torch in that fabric, and you're gonna burn the holes back. About a 6-inch diameter circle hole every 2 feet. And in a 6-foot section, it looks like we did about 3 rows this way. So that would make sense, about 2 feet in between each hole. And then in the spring, you can either buy sweet potato slips, or you can take one of your potatoes here, or a few of them, and you can start your own slips, grow your own slips. Quite a bit of work, but it can be done. And then put those in the ground, and you have a closed loop system there for your sweet potatoes. So one of the things too I wanted to talk about is that Johnson Sioux. We put some of that Johnson Sioux compost in with each slip when we sow these in the spring. And I'll tell you, I really became convinced of that stuff when we used it as more of like you can make extracts and do all kinds of things with it, but we used it as a potting, kind of like a potting mix to start our seeds this past spring. And man, just the amount of moisture that stuff would hang on to was just incredible. We did a side-by-side and did another, just a standard potting mix, and it was like we watered the Johnson Sioux seeds in the Johnson Sioux soil maybe once a week, and the other stuff, it was like every day, every other day we were needing to water. The Johnson Sioux just hung on to so much more water, and so I wonder, if that's got something to do with our level of drought success here. I mean, sweet potato, wow. What do you think of that? Huh? Nice haul there. But I wonder, like, because we're digging this, and you know, this is very, very dark. Just it's damp, you know, and I know we're gonna keep more moisture in with that fabric on top. But just really good stuff we're digging in here. Not dry at all, really. As you get into that soil, and I think it has to do with that Johnson Sioux we're putting down. Yeah, the other reason for running that Johnson Sioux is just obviously the biology. You know, just that putting down those microbes and that interaction that you've got. You know, just in being out here, I mean, we're seeing earthworms, all kinds of bugs. We saw obviously we've got voles running around, but we saw toad actually that the kids put over into the cover crop, and so all kinds of life here just underneath the surface. Let me see. Man, look at that thing. Hey, pretty cool. A week out from frost here. Not sure. The rye will be fine in that mix, but man, I don't know about the other stuff. This has been down here for I believe a couple weeks now. It's the next evening here, and all of these sweet potatoes have been harvested. They are inside curing right now. When you harvest sweet potatoes, you want to be sure to let them cure for, they say, at least a week. Ours cure 2 weeks to a month, and this is going to let that starch turn over into sugar and create a much tastier eating experience for sure. So you want to let them cure. So let's go over some yields here. We harvested 450.94 pounds of sweet potatoes on this little patch here. Now today we went back and we seeded this in our cover crop mix, and then we lightly dusted over the top with our compost. And what that's going to do is really hold that moisture in, give a good soil to seed contact here. And we don't have much time before this first frost, so I'm thinking that's our best shot here with holding in some moisture, get this to germinate hopefully before middle of next week, but we'll see on that. So almost 451 pounds here of sweet potatoes. In today's dollars, I think a pound of sweet potatoes I saw organic was around $3.50 a pound. So that puts us at $1,578.29 for this harvest here that we did on this little piece of ground, 57 feet long by, it would be about 18 feet wide. Each one of those strips of black fabric is about 6 feet wide, so maybe not quite 18 feet. Interesting to take those numbers and extrapolate those to, let's just say you did an acre. You did an acre of these sweet potatoes. Keep in mind you're going to have some pretty hefty labor to get these out of the ground, especially by hand. But nonetheless, on 1 acre, you would have 19,142 pounds of these potatoes, almost 10 ton of sweet potatoes, and that would yield about $66,998, 67 grand, really. And interesting to compare these to, I like to look at strawberries. Strawberries are a heavy cash crop around here. And I know in a lot of other areas, and they're kind of touted for their profitability on small spaces, and that is true. Oregon State University economics here, they estimate you can do about 16,000 pounds per acre of strawberries, and you can gross about $21,400 on that acre. So sweet potatoes beating out strawberries even on pounds harvested, and also on a dollar per dollar basis. The dollars and cents side of this, though, really doesn't mean as much to me as the health of our soil, and consequently then the health of myself and my family. What we harvested here is going to far surpass nutritionally anything that we can come up with, I think, even at a farmer's market, with the biology here that we have in this garden now. Just absolutely incredible to see what we pull out of here in terms of harvest and also nutrients. And to me, you know, when we talk about compost, we can do all the tests that we want and quantify this and that can be helpful. It can be useful, especially year to year, in comparing test results in the same space. But really, at the end of the day, the question in my mind is, what are your yields? What are you actually pulling out of the garden or the field, and then what is the nutrient density of what you're pulling out. That really, to me, is where the rubber meets the road. And I think going forward, it doesn't take a prophet to be able to see what's going to continue to happen in agriculture, in the field of agriculture. We're going to continue to see consolidation with row crop operations, bigger farms, family farms even, are going to continue to be swallowed up by bigger operators, and we're going to come to fewer and fewer operators that are just much larger scale in agriculture. And I think, as a small farm here, we swim countercultural to that. Okay, I mean, I don't fit in with the row crop crowd, and I certainly don't fit in with the city folk. And so we're our own breed of cat here. But let me just say this: these farms, the farms that you see now that are farming closer to what our great grandparents did, and employing those types of techniques, those are the small farms that you will see persist in the months and the years ahead. Just my opinion, but getting back to closed loop systems, small scale, that feed family first and then overflow to local community. This is what I'm passionate about, and it's what I want to see all across this country, because it means freedom and it means independence as we take back soil health and grow locally, produce locally on a small scale. Biggest lie in the world is that we have to feed the world. Absolutely do not, and we will not. Refuse to accept that belief or mantra or mentality. Reject that wholly, and we feed family first, then overflow to the local community. And these are the farms that will persist heading into the future. It is my belief that hard times have a certain way of producing a healthy resilience. And I think we're coming back to that realization in this country with the resurgence of local agriculture and small, healthy family farms that will persist through hard times. Thanks for hanging with me today, and I hope your harvest is going well this fall. Be at peace, be blessed. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.